Hi guys, welcome to new video of this ReactJS video series, and is the second video. Okay, the first one we learn about how to install and to prepare our setup for ReactJS projects. Now we are in Visual Code. How we explained you the last video, we have some files like package JSON. We didn't gonna need it. We have the package JSON. Basically any type of script, how we're gonna run any type of command inside our terminal, it's gonna be there. Okay, and in our dependencies, for example, we have react DOM. We can use it for the routes. And one thing more, yeah, I mean any dependency we gonna install, like for example, for deployment for GitHub, GH pages, it's a dependency. If we wanted to install, for example, the framework of Node.js, Express.js, we're gonna appears here. For example, the framework of MongoDB, Mongoose, when we get installed, we're gonna appears in this location of dependencies. I mean, any type of dependency you can imagine when you install, gonna appears here. Okay, and this is not very important for now. The most important is the name of our the project. I mean, gonna be same to the folder, because if don't, we're gonna have a problem with the conflicts. Now we're gonna the next file is Git Ignore. We don't gonna use it for now because it's for control version. You can use it for your GitHub, for example, or GitLab. The second thing is gonna be the folder source. We're gonna work with this folder. Okay, basically any type of project you can imagine. For example, using any type of project you can imagine. For example, database. When you work with database with React.js, any file gonna be inside this folder. Okay, the first thing gonna be setup and your service worker. We don't gonna use it. The next one is gonna be index.js. We're gonna use it, and app.js. We have app CSS, but for now it's not very important. The third one is public. Okay, here gonna be our index and our photos. Okay, in this case our images. And the third one, the last one, it's node models. Basically, all the nodes and all the models we need to run our React JS server. It's gonna be here. Okay, sorry, the project in our server. The data is wherever it's. Now, the first thing we're gonna do is basically run our project. For that, we need to type inside our terminal. Remember, you should be inside the folder. We're gonna type, for example, npm start. We're gonna put npm start, and we press the enter. And this now we are running the scripts. Okay, now our server it's created. Start creating. Sorry. Now our server start development, and we gonna have our um, the browser started for now. And yeah, here we go. We have now set up our local hosts. We're gonna see it here with localhost 3000, and we can use our AP, sorry, with HTTP request. But we're gonna use localhost. We're gonna go now to our browser. In my case, it's opened because I have Firefox, basically my favorite browser, and it's opened directly. And now we have our app set up in our localhost. We can see here the background color, the edition, and we see here in the basically in the name. We're gonna go to the index, and we're gonna change some character for now. Just explain you how it's work. Okay, now we are in index, and the title, the name of title of our um, project is React AI. We're gonna change it to React tutorial. Sorry, I put it with tutorials. Yeah, tutorial. And yeah, now we're gonna understand why we have this animation. Sorry, this animation of JavaScript with React. Sorry, The background, this image, it's because basically we are using the routes, but we are getting that image and that color and everything. We get it from index.js. We are getting because in our React.js we are importing all the files index.js dot I yeah app.js, the DOM, the React DOM, and we are sending using get element by id. Inside the document get element by id, it's sending all that information to our index, and we paint it in our browser. Okay, remember we get it inside the index using get element by id. We are getting the route and the route of index get the information and is printed to us in screen basically in our browser. The second thing gonna be explanation between the difference between JavaScript HTML5 and GSX. A lot of people when they start with the React.js, they think are executing the HTML code because they see the div and the class, but they forget the class name. Yes, we are not executing the HTML code, we are executing the syntaxes of the React using JavaScript, okay? The syntax is this, okay? Class name. We need to add the name to our class because in HTML5, for example, you put class equal double quotes and you put what class you want to put, okay? But here we need to put class name because of how it's work GSX, the syntax of React. And why it's like this is because inside the React folder, basically we install the React.js folder, we install hide two type of programs. We install Bubble.js and Webpack. Okay, remember Babel.js and Webpack. I mean, we don't see in it, but it's by default. Okay. Now we're gonna go and give you example how React transform our code like HTML to React code. We're gonna go here and we're gonna select the React. Okay. Now we're gonna create a div. Okay, a normal div, a div, and we're gonna put, for example, Yasin, and we're gonna close the div. Okay, div. Now you can see here. Okay, we created the Yasin, basically a div with my name. Sorry, and you can see the compile, the Bible technology compiled and created this code. React dot create element div null Yasin. Okay, it's basically how it happened here. Basically, we created code like HTML and Babel and Webpack technology. They transform that code to like this one. Okay, and it's basically how we save a lot of the time because we don't have time to create all that amount of code. The second thing we're gonna do is basically cleaning um, our folders. We're gonna delete the setup.js. We're gonna delete the service worker.js, and we're gonna delete the logo svg, and we're gonna go inside the index. We're gonna no, we're gonna yeah, we're not gonna delete anything for now. But it's failing. Oh, yeah, because we delete the file of service worker. Now we delete this service work import and it's gonna work again. And we're gonna go to index.js. We're gonna delete all of code. We're gonna save it. We're gonna go to app.js and in app.js we're gonna delete the div. Okay, the class name app. We're gonna delete all the div until to here. Here we go. We save it. We're gonna app.css. I mean, and yeah, we are in .app.css. But before that, I need to explain you how it's work React and why it's so important. Okay, inside our app.js, we are an index.js, not index CSS. Inside index.js, we are importing some kind of files. Okay, that file is basically gonna be a component. I mean, the way it's work um, React is basically cutting big issue or big part of code in small amount of files with small code. What that mean? Imagine if we have a page like this one, for example, we have a medium, okay? We have the bar navigation, we have the get start, basically a sing in, register, and become a member, okay? And we have here the blog, okay? Each one it's a component, okay? They become a member, it's a component. Sign in is component, get start is component, and the rest of the page it's another component. It's how it's work React JS. And I wanted to put you another example how it's work. Imagine this component like React comments, okay? All that page it's a component, and what React did, because they wanted to make everything very fast and very small amount of data required to serve in the page, they divided in small components. For example, imagine you have an app, it called React comments, sorry, React component comments with different components. We have here three components. Okay, we have the principal component, basically this one, and we have the green one. It's basically when we can chat, we can comment, and another component very different to comment form. We have comment list where all comment is update. Okay, this is how it's work in React, dividing big portion of code in small portion. That is the theory. But now we're gonna work with the practical part. Okay, we're gonna start working with the practical part. And now we're gonna create a small div inside this function because I have error. I'm gonna put div. I'm gonna close it. I put React project React.js tutorial. Okay, tutorial, and we're gonna close it. Here we go. Now we have our div ready for our function because we need to work with the components. For that, I need to create um, another function, and I'm gonna give it name function. And remember, the first letter of your name of function should be in capital letter. Okay. For example, I need to put React. If I put React without capital letter, my project is gonna be broke. Okay. I need to put React JS. I need to put double parentheses, and because it's a function, and I open the braces. And now we have our function, that means our components ready to start. Now I need to execute this function. That means I need to call inside the function of app.js. For that I need to create it. For example, I put ReactJS, and I need to this is my tutorial. I'm gonna put this is my tutorial. How I gonna call it? You know, in JavaScript we what we do is putting React.js and parentheses, and we are calling the our function, but it's inside of JavaScript. If we are inside of React, and remember we are using some syntaxes of HTML what is very similar, we don't can execute this function because we are not using JavaScript syntaxes. What we're gonna do is so simple. We're gonna put here, we're gonna put the name of our function and we close it. Okay, here we go. Now we are executing our function React.js inside our app function. I'm gonna change the name because it's gonna be confused with the React dependencies. I'm gonna put React.js tutorial, okay? And I need to put the same inside my call tutorial. Here we go. And now save it. And it's work. You can see it here. It's successful compiled and it's work. Now, if we wanted to print this function inside our front screen, we need to put something to render. Okay, something, some any description we're gonna say. Okay, for that we're gonna get a div. Sorry, div, and with um, I'm gonna put typical hello world. Okay, I'm gonna save it, and I have error here. And I'm error because I forget to put inside my to return because I wanted to have something to see in my screen. I put return and I involve with the parentheses. Okay, remember the braces and parentheses. And here we go. Now we save it and everything gets okay. And now we're gonna go to the browser. And here we go. We have React.js is my tutorial and hello world. Okay, what we did basically, the first thing we did is render this component and we did the other component. Okay, basically we executed the function in our function of app. Basically is the main component. We created another component inside the app called function tutorial, okay, with the div hello world. And we're gonna go back and remember one thing very important. Inside the components we can have any type of code. What that mean? We can have HTML like here with div, we can have style with CSS, and we can have a language of programming of logic, for example JavaScript. Okay, for example we can go to our inside our div, we're gonna give it ID and we're gonna give it a class of I'm gonna put React tutorial. Okay, we copy the React tutorial and we're gonna go to the app.css sorry, and we're gonna give it a style. Okay, we're gonna go for example right here before the media query media. What we're gonna do is yeah, we're gonna put dot, sorry, we use the sharp, we put React tutorial, we open the braces and we're gonna give it for example a border. We're gonna give it border 1 pixel solid, and the color we're gonna wanna put is red. And well, I wanted to paint it inside background background color. I wanted to have something blue, royal blue. Okay, and I save it. We are saving, but we need to go to app.js and saving our ID. Okay, remember, because if not, the React they don't gonna detect it, and you don't gonna have the change. Okay, we save it again, and we go to our browser, and here we go. We have border pixel of 1 pixel, and we have the background color of royal blue. Okay, now we go back to our project. And the good thing about that is basically if we wanted to we need another function with React.js tutorial with the same um, design, we don't need to create another function. What we're gonna do is copy our React.js tutorial inside the function app and we paste it. Okay, for example 3 times. We wanna 3 times this function. We save it and we go to our browser, and here we go. We have 3 times our function. We just sample calling it like HTML. Okay, remember, we are calling our function using the name and the style of HTML. Basically, we're reusing the code the time we wanna. Okay, basically we're using the different style. We can even change the style, but we need to change the ID. Okay, but for now what I am doing is basically reusing our codes. And another way to write a function but with small amount of code, we can create a const, for example app, and we created a raw function. How it's word how we can write a raw function? Basically with this syntaxes. I need to change the capital letter, and here we go. Now what we need to do, it's simple like creating a div. Sorry, I'm gonna copy it from here. I don't need the return. Why? Because I am creating an anonymous function. That means I don't put it the return because it's by default the function. Now we need to return something. For that reason, we don't put the return. Okay. In this function, yes, we need to put the return because we don't give it any information what we wanna do with this function. But with the const, we are basically giving definition. Sorry, we are giving the definition to const app. The definition of that are gonna be React. This is my tutorial. Okay. Basically, this div is define our const app. For that reason, we don't need to put a return. For now, it's what I wanted to explain you. Okay, the difference between classes of returns. Okay, remember, we have this function. Basically, we're gonna giving a function with the name of app, and we wanna and give him the method of return to give us any information inside the div. Again, sorry, I need to put, because if not I didn't put nothing, I'm gonna have error. Okay, the second one is const app. Basically we create the app. If we put the const, that means we need to define the our function. Okay, and we use the arrow function because we need basically when you created arrow function you don't need to put the return because it's by default. That means we're gonna give no, sorry, we need to something to return. Okay, and the third one is what called the render. Okay, we put, you can see here, a React DOM render. Basically it's a rendering, it's sending information for return of this web, sorry, this component, and the component is of course app.js. Okay, we have three things, but for the most important gonna be this one. Okay, the function app, parentheses, braces, and return. This is most common used inside the React world. The next video gonna be about the props. Okay, what is the props? Props basically it's how we say our function to return, for example, our React.js tutorial. For example, it's React, this is my tutorial, but I need to give him information the next time it's return with different styles, for example different color. With that I need props. Okay, give the information of the return the same function but with different color. For example, imagine a React, this is my tutorial, with different color, background color, or for example red, and the next time after the red I want it to blue, and the next time with, for example, the green. With the props we can use it without changing the color. Okay, for now, thank you, and we see you in the next video.